What is up, beautiful people? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to underwrite a single family home flip in 15 minutes or less without losing your sanity or taking out a second mortgage on your patience. By the end of this video, you'll know the exact formula, the most important factors to look for when comping properties, and how to estimate your rehab holding costs in a way that keep you profitable. If you like making money in real estate, and who doesn't, stick around and let's dive right in. First, let's talk about the magic formula for determining your buy price. It starts with what's called the ARV, or after repair value, which is essentially what you expect to sell the home for once it's fully remodeled. You take the ARV and multiply it by 0.92, which accounts for 6% in real estate commissions, 2% for closing costs, staging, inspections, and all the little extras you'll need in order to sell. From that number, you subtract your rehab estimate, then your holding costs, then the profit you want to make on your flip. And if you're wholesaling, you'll also subtract your desired assignment fee. Whatever number is left at the end of this calculation is your target buy price. That's the quick outline, but to use it properly, you need to know your ARV with confidence. That's where comping properties, finding comparable sales comes in. Determining the correct ARV starts by gathering 3 or 4 solid comps, meaning properties that sold in the last 6 months, ideally 3 months, but 6 months within the same subdivision and are close in condition, layout, and size to the property you're analyzing. I personally like using Zillow because it has a useful map. So I'll open 2 tabs, one with the subject property and another with a map showing recently sold homes. I filter the sold homes to see only those closed in the past 6 months. If there literally are no comps, I'll go as far as 12 months. But in today's market, you really shouldn't go farther than 6 months because those are more likely to reflect the current values. It's also really important to stay within the same subdivision. Avoid crossing major roads, highways, or anything that might clearly separate one neighborhood from another. A classic example of this are railroads. Railroad tracks you can never cross. It's usually better to go further back in time than to cross out of a subdivision and pull a comp in a completely different area. Once I have my basic geographic filters in place, I focus on condition. If I'm trying to figure out the ARV of a fully remodeled property, I also have to find comparables that are also fully remodeled. You don't want to compare a house with brand new kitchens, bathrooms, and designer finishes to a house that looked like it came straight from the 1970s, unless you plan to keep your flip in the 1970s. I also call location, time, and condition my class 1 factors. These 3 elements are the most important because if you mismatch any of them, your ARV calculation will definitely be way off by a wide margin. Moving on to the secondary factors. You want to match the property type, meaning don't compare a single family residence to a duplex or a quadplex or an apartment complex or a mobile home. The square footage is the next most important. You generally need to stay within 100 square feet if possible, but do not go past more than 200 square feet or less than 200 square feet, because if it starts going past that, then it just doesn't work. If it's between the 100 and 200, you can do a price per square foot adjustment to make sure you're doing it right. Then, bedroom and bathroom count. A 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house should be comped with another 2-bedroom, 1-bath house, or you're gonna have to do some adjustments. In many markets, each additional bedroom can add anywhere from $10,000 to $25,000 in value, with $15,000 being a good ballpark if you're in a normal average market. Bathrooms can be a bit trickier. Moving from a 1-bath to a 2-bath property might require you to factor in an additional $20,000 to $30,000 in rehab costs, so you can add that extra bathroom. Assuming you can't find any good comps that match your 1-bath floor plan, going from 2 to 3 bathrooms often mirrors the bedroom adjustment of $10,000 to $25,000 but it depends on your local market. So ask actual flippers who are doing flips in your market. Year build is the next factor. You generally want to stay within 10 years of construction. Do not compare a 2024 new build to a home built in the 1990s. Unless you enjoy lying awake at night trying to justify your numbers to an appraiser when your house isn't selling. Lot size also matters, especially in rural areas where buyers love large parcels of land. As a general rule, stay within 25,000 square feet of lot size in standard suburban areas so your comps are more accurate. Parking can be a big one too, because in many areas, a garage can add $20,000 to $25,000 in value, while a carport might add around $15,000. In densely populated cities like San Francisco, a missing garage can knock off hundreds of thousands of dollars, so be sure you know your market. Also, be wary of proximity to traffic or commercial buildings, because a busy road or a nearby railroad track or a nearby highway can drop the value by 10, 15, and even 20% depending on where it is located relative to the property. You find a comp that also has the same busy road or also is neighboring commercial, you can avoid that adjustment since it applies apples to apples. Lastly, if there's a basement or guest house, also known as an ADU, you typically count half of that extra square footage toward your total. For instance, if the house is 1,500 square feet with a 500 square foot ADU, you might look for comps that are around 1,750 square feet normally without any ADUs. You can find a comp with a similar ADU and similar square footage. That would be best, but when you can't, the rule of thumb is 50% of the square footage in the ADU or basement equals the regular square footage as if it was added on the house. Once you've nailed down 3 or 4 comps that match location, time, condition, and the big property characteristics, you can come up with a really solid ARV for your property. At that point, we circle back to our formula. ARV times 0.92, then minus rehab, minus holding costs, and minus profit equals your buy price. Let's talk about rehab for a second, because that can be a huge variable. I like to classify rehabs into 5 types. The first is what I call lipstick, which covers paint, flooring, and some minor touch-ups. And I'll ballpark that at around $30 per square foot, but it can be really different depending on your market. The second type is a full cosmetic, meaning it needs pretty much all aesthetic upgrades, like a new kitchen, bathrooms, flooring, paint, and fixtures, but not major structural changes or heavy system replacements, which I put at about $40 per square foot. The third is a gut job, where you have to replace everything: floors, cabinets, appliances, windows, bathrooms, inside and out. Usually you don't have to replace the major stuff like plumbing, electrical, or structural elements, but you have to replace literally everything else in the house. That, in most markets, I've found is about $60 per square foot. The fourth is the property if it's like down to the studs. It's like missing electrical, plumbing, it requires new drywall, roof repairs, and essentially a top to bottom overhaul. That one is about $70 per square foot. Finally, the fifth category is a teardown or new build, which can hover around $150 per square foot because you're literally constructing from bottom to top. All of these costs can change depending on your local construction costs, but these are the averages that I've found for January 2025. In any of these 5 categories, be sure to budget for major systems if they need replacement. A roof can cost easily $20,000 to $30,000. HVAC systems might be $7,000 to $15,000. A water heater might run about $5,000, and windows can cost $5,000 to $8,000 or more. A foundation repair can be anywhere from $20,000 to $100,000 if it's really bad, so keep your eyes out for those big items. Rehab cost estimation is usually the trickiest part, but with experience and guidance from local contractors and other investors, you'll get more accurate over time. Next, remember to subtract your holding costs. For most of the experienced investors I know, the interest rate on a hard money loan hovers around 10%, which means if you plan to hold the property for 3 months, you multiply your loan amount by 10%, divide that by 12 to get your monthly rate, and then multiply by 3. If you think it might take 6 months to finish your project, then you adjust the calculation to 6 months. And for a more extensive project, it might be a year or longer, so you need to know how long this project will probably last. And lastly, don't forget to subtract your profit. If you're going to put all of this energy and time into a flip, you want to make sure you walk away with the money in your pocket rather than more stress. After you do all of this, the number you you see at the end is the buy price you should aim for. And also the profit, make it at least 10% of the ARV, because you need to make sure you have wiggle room in case unexpected things happen, like a bathroom needs an extra, needs a better toilet, or the kitchen actually needs an extra 20 grand in roof. Whatever it is, you need a little bit of wiggle room for unexpected things. Now that you have the framework, I want to remind you that I have a free rehab calculator linked in the description below, along with a bunch of other totally free resources, scripts, contract, SOPs that can help you on your journey, whether you're flipping, wholesaling, or buy and holding. If you don't want to do all of this math by hand and you'd rather save your brain cells for picking out /tile, feel free to download my tool and customize it to your market. It is completely free. All you have to do is make a copy once you have it open. Once you have that, comping your property and coming up with an offer will become a piece of cake. That brings us to the end of today's video. If you found this helpful, give that like button a quick high five, because it helps my channel reach other people who are hungry for real estate knowledge. If you want more tips and tricks on comping properties, flipping housing, or just want me to make more dad jokes, make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss a post. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.